This is for any beginner starting a comic. Don't be afraid to put pen to paper because you're worried that your idea might suck. Because your idea right now sucks absolute ass. Or more importantly, I should rephrase it. You might have a good idea, but you're going to execute it very, very poorly. Learning martial arts, learning archery, learning anything comes with a repetitive and ongoing series of misadventures and failures. The only way you're going to actually learn how to properly write a comic is if you start and fail. The thing that you have to realize is the first comic that you actually take seriously, the first one that you decide, okay, this is the one that's going to make me a name, it's not going to work out. It's going to suck absolute ass, but that's okay, because you're going to take the lessons you've learned from the previous one or the stylistic choices you've made and use it to create something better. What I have is the early blueprints of the conceptualized idea for a comic that I rejected. And rightfully so, because honestly, I think a lot of it's good. It has a lot of my favorite designs in there, but I don't think it reflects me completely. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you, just to give you guys an idea of how extensive this process is. This is the amount of pages that I did when I started my first comic. I spent a lot of my time drawing these storyboards. You can see here, there's kind of a fight scene happening. But the reason I want to show this to you guys is because you don't come up with the great story at first, but what you come up with and the skill you develop is visual storytelling. And that's so important as a comic artist, to kind of separate yourself from the other mediums like a storybook. You know, you're not telling everything through words but through visuals. This here is a page that I spent quite a bit of time on, and I tried to kind of learn the techniques of visual storytelling through putting a larger story in play. So all the other pages together kind of make up a bigger story. That's the goal, obviously. But the main thing that happens is you're going to start writing this big overarching story, and then you're going to maybe get to a crossroad and you're not going to feel optimistic about it anymore. But that's okay, that's perfectly normal. Whether or not you choose to continue from that point on is your decision, because you can always take those ideas and recreate it into something better. This kind of page here is what I'm talking about, like kind of getting used to visual storytelling. You can see here, you can kind of get an idea of what's happening with the character. You've got him walking through the snow, kind of the chain leading out of the frame, and then you see him just right there. That's where he is, with the big ass metal ball kind of dragging behind him, rippling up the snow. And then he's like trying to move around a bit, getting a bit of a sweat. I've spent quite a lot of time developing it until I came up with ideas that I was actually happy with. And the ideas that I've come up with now, I can't show all of them to you because I'm going to spoil a lot of my story. But a lot of the ideas that are a part of my rejected work, which you see here, are in the new comic. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is, your best comic, the one that you're happy with and the one that you want to release and make a name for yourself with, your best comic at any given moment is going to be an amalgamation or a compilation of ideas that you have used in the past that didn't necessarily work in your other work. Let's say, for example, you come up with a load of ideas that you love, but the story doesn't work out. You can always take those ideas and translate them into a comic that you're actually proud of. And that's what I've done with my Webtoon Steam Hand. This is what a lot of people shy away from This is where people decide, I don't want to do comics anymore because it's too difficult, or maybe they're not confident in their ideas, they're afraid to release or create their art. And my advice to those people is, the worst thing you can possibly do to your art is not share it with other people. You have to take the risk of creating something that is going to suck ass and is going to temporarily cause a setback to your name for a little bit, because one day you're going to use those ideas from the bad one that you made earlier, translate some of those concepts into the good stuff, and that's going to be what makes you unique. That's going to be what makes you different, and that's going to make you proud of the work that you've created.